The International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Forced Disappearance. Yes. Now, you were going to forcefully disappear me because of the use of restoration laws? Yes. When the police departments and approximately 2,000 email addresses had the actual videos that I was making in Port Angeles, Washington, on June 16th of 2017, and then you were going to send emails from any email address, put my name in it as the individual that was sending them, and then you were going to put me in a mental hospital and administer psychotropic medication against my will. But you decided instead to dismiss the case, yes, saying I was incompetent to stand trial. Now this would fit into this international convention of involving every individual in an international crime of violating the international conventions. When you really look through it, okay, it's approximately 12, it's 13 megabytes. Yeah, I put a link on there. International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. I think we really have the definition of the enforced disappearance of citizens so that they, well, you issued a traffic citation where I was in Port Angeles, yes. Uh, Protection of all persons from enforced disappearance. The state parties to this convention, considering the obligation of states under the Charter of the United Nations to promote universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Yeah. Having regard to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, aware of the extreme seriousness of enforced disappearance, which constitutes a crime and in certain circumstances defined in international law, yeah, a crime against humanity, traffic citation, yeah. Did you get the video camera surveillance from the bus that morning? And the Hagans at 9 a.m. This story that you made up, that I was in Sequim, Washington. And then you arrest me for a failure to appear, yes, where I asked for the notice from the state of jurisdiction, though it was a docketed hearing, I took a screen print of it. Yeah. You decided that you'd have the court hearing in 2 judicial days so as to make sure that the notice was destroyed. Yes. And then you put me in jail and you said that I was going to a mental institution. Isn't that what forced disappearance is? Determined to prevent enforced disappearances and to combat impunity for the crime of enforced disappearance. I thought that was the plan. You could send an email from any email address and you just say it was from me. Part 1, Article 1, no one shall be subjected to enforced disappearance. Restoration laws. The refusing to admit any evidence that would have exonerated me, and then the refusal to allow for the suppression of evidence because of law enforcement not being involved right now. I'm sorry. Prosecuting attorney, Jefferson County. Pouch! Each and every email address for a year and a half. Every time I went to court, Judge Landis, I'm thinking that you have actually violated an international convention known as the Enforcement of the Disappearance of Citizens. No exceptional circumstances whatsoever, whether a state of war or a threat of war, internal political instability, or any other public emergency, may be invoked as justification for enforced disappearance. Wasn't that your plan? You'd enforce my disappearance into a mental institution. You'd drug me for as long as you wanted so that I could no longer be a bother. Now, these international crimes, for the purpose of this convention, enforced disappearance is considered to be the arrest for the allegation of a crime in Sequim, Washington on December 31st of 2015. Considered to be the arrest for a failure to appear for an August 21st, 2017 court hearing where the 2-count criminal complaint, yes, did not give me any witnesses, yes, didn't present any evidence. Oh, the detaining of me in jails, yes. The abducting of me and any other form of deprivation of liberty. Article 2. I think that this city, yes, this county, ooch, this state, and the United States of America has definite. Well, am I really incompetent to stand trial? Yes. How do I suppress the evidence of a traffic citation? Yes. That should have been given to the individual at the time of the violation. Mandatory appearance. Yes. I was on a bus. Yeah. I was at the Hagen's Pooch. See, your family's just making up bullshit about people. Ouch! And then you've been enforcing the disappearance of those that are a problem to you. What about this, Judge Rohr? I never got notice of court hearings. I never got any of the documentation. Yes. The actual marriage certificate is from the United Nations. Yes. And in the United Nations, I have a special kind of interest. I can use the International Court of Law because our marriage license is signed by myself and my wife. Yes. And when I finally am able to find out where my disappeared sons are, I'm going to seize the top right now. Okay? Because that's a real fucking marriage certificate. See, it's a little different than if the marriage license had come from. Yes, it is. I can obligate the United Nations to enforce every convention of the United Nations because of the binding effect of a United Nations marriage certificate. Looks to me like.